Mashiane Politically Incorrect. No one is a victor here. No one deserves applause. Well, the ANC comes out to want to claim that they have won. This thing is so complicated that, you look at it, even the finance minister does not know where he stands. Should he keep his job? I don't think he should even keep his job. I mean, he has failed spectacularly. Whether it was made to fail by ANC or otherwise, it doesn't matter. But, and come to think of it, do you remember when Julius Malema said the best finance minister would be Floyd Shivambu? Maybe Floyd Shivambu must be fielded as the finance minister. Maybe he should. Maybe he should take it. At least he would now not have issues of being pushed around at MK. Maybe. It's just a maybe. I'm just saying a maybe because I remember when Jacob Zuma came out to say Desmond Roy is the best academically deserving finance minister, and we said, wow, Desmond Roy in the weekend special, because Zuma was forced to make Desmond Roy in a weekend special. But then it turns out that academically, Desmond Roy was the best minister, and when Zuma made that appointment, of course you can argue that it was a good appointment, but on merit, Desmond Roy at the time proved to be the best finance minister. So where do we go with this? So what I want to do is, I see Clement Manyathela has been attacked so much. Clement Manyathela has been attacked. Remember how Clement Manyathela attacked? He had a very aggressive interview with Clement. No, Clement Manyathela had a very aggressive interview with Herman Mashaba. Ban confuse man Manyathela. So what is happening now? People are now claiming on Twitter to say Clement Manyathela must swallow his pride and apologize to Mashaba, because Clement Manyathela was trying to convince everyone that DA is right by going to court and not doing this. So you see this, the poster that you've seen here from Eyewitness News. Remember when I said, these people, do they really care for us? Because they were willing, most political parties, they were willing to agree with ANC, provided what they want is given. For example, they said DA can't claim to be a victor because they wanted to give ANC anything they wanted on the VAT, so they can keep, they can take away the expropriation bill, or maybe even the Bella bill. So whatever the political party wants, they want to claim they want us. So whether it's ANC, EFF, or whatever party, people are saying this victory is victory for people of South Africa, because you all fought amongst yourselves for us to win. Because that's what I'm saying, no one won. But let's do this. Let's watch Clement Manyathela engaging Sinawo Thambo. Let's watch it and then we'll come back to unpack the rest.
Sinawo Thambo, who is a member of parliament with the Economic Freedom Fighters. Sinawo, thanks for making time for us. Good morning.
Morning, Clement, once again, and morning to the listeners.
So you have seen what the finance minister has announced last night. Let me first get the reaction from the EFF, and also what do you think this means going forward? Because, does the finance minister reverse VAT just by decree, or are there other processes that should unfold in parliament?
Look, I think the first thing we need to do is to clear the muddying of waters, because a lot of what is happening now is claiming of victories by a lot of political parties.
Yeah.
So the first thing we must clarify is that the minister, as you're saying, cannot decree a reversal of the VAT hike unilaterally. And if we read his media advisory carefully, he says that he's going to introduce a proposed amendment bill to propose that the VAT hike remains at 15%. Now, that reveals to you that any statement by anyone that says that the VAT hikes have been reversed immediately is incorrect. The second point that I think also clear the muddied waters of people who are claiming victories is that the media advisory by the minister doesn't speak to utilizing any alternative revenue generation mechanisms proposed by any political party
Yeah.
holder. He says he's going to recover the shortfall by adjusting expenses. So this means that there are political parties that can say that during this 30-day period, they've provided an alternative revenue generation mechanism that has resulted in the VAT being scrapped. What is going to happen is that there's going to be consequences to health, there's going to be consequences to education, and possibly social grants, because the minister is going to try to offset the revenue shortfall of 75 billion by cutting expenditure.
Yeah.
So let's clear the muddied waters.
That's now. I need you to repeat that. I need you to pause there a bit, because there is a confusion that's been created out there, because that's how I understood it as well. When I read the finance minister's statement, he doesn't say that, oh, I'm now convinced by whatever proposals that BOSA or ActionSA has submitted. There are going to be consequences here, because all he's saying is, okay, I'm not going to increase VAT. And even in that statement, he acknowledges that there are going to be consequences. So it's not because he's now suddenly convinced by ActionSA's proposals or other parties' proposals. It's because he saw that he's probably going to lose this case in court, and better withdraw this right now rather than wait for the ruling on the 28th, because that was going to create a much bigger headache.
Absolutely, and that is the point I wanted to get to, is that we should recognize the importance of the court process here, because the duplicity, but also the deception of the Minister of Finance is revealed in the fact that he said in his court papers that he doesn't foresee this being reversed, that on May the 1st. So this reversal comes from what happened in court 2 days ago, and that is reflective on the fact that the consequences of the scrapping of the VAT hike are going to fall on the poorest of the poor, which might as well remain the fact that can be equated to the VAT hike in itself. So those are the 2 points. But I think, Clement, the other point we need to make is that the minister states in his media advisory that he's going to withdraw the Division of Revenue Bill and Appropriations Bill and rework it and resubmit it to Parliament in the next coming weeks. The Division of Revenue Bill and the Appropriations Bill are products of the fiscal framework. So when he reintroduces them in a couple of weeks, what informs the Division of Revenue Bill? What informs the Appropriations Bill?
It's the
and what is the fiscal policy that guides them? Because the fiscal framework, which is currently disputed in court, by the way, has been adopted by the National Assembly. So he's gonna rework this Division of Revenue Bill and Appropriations Bill, guided by what? Because we have to go back to the initial process. That is why we as the EFF are saying that he has consequently withdrawn the budget in its entirety. And we don't see how he, in good conscience, wants to remain a Minister of Finance, because he has missed the timelines established by the PFMA Act, which say that before the beginning of the financial year, by the 31st of March this year, for example, he should have presented a budget. He has essentially not done so. And the confusion needs to be clarified for our people, because, for example, now, Parliament is going to go on a recess as of tomorrow. His proposed amendment bill, when is it going to be deliberated upon by Parliament? So we're not trying to blow anyone's bubble, but let's be honest and reflect on the process objectively before we try to claim victories, all of us as political parties.
Yeah. All right. Sinawo Thambo, EFF Member of Parliament, thanks for making.
So he and Sinawo Thambo actually agree that what the minister was saying, the minister so dumbfounded himself. When Clement was attacking, why do I keep saying attacking? It's not the right word, man. He was being aggressive. And aggressive is also a wrong word. Because, Mashaba is not a well-spoken person. Well-spoken in this instance I'm talking about. He does not have good eloquence of words. He's not stammering, I don't know, but he's not good. And of course, Julius Malema made fun of it. So when you are to engage him, you need to give him a chance to speak. But the problem is, if a broadcaster like Clement Manyathela he's got time limitation, because he's on radio or on TV, so he will not give Mashaba time to speak. So when a politician runs away with the conversation, let's say you ask him about apples, he talks about guavas, and he will not have time. And that's what I'm saying. He wasn't aggressive. He's got time limits. That's why TV and radio are much more strenuous than a podcast like me. I would give you all the chance you need, and because I know you will finish and then I'll come in. So Clement might not have that leverage. So he wasn't aggressive, but what he was saying is you are only going to come on the 22nd, and after the 22nd, you are going to go to recess again. And if they grant you whatever you proposed, are you going to? So it was tough. But people are saying Clement was wrong. I don't think Clement was wrong, because Clement also says the minister doesn't say I was swayed by this, and that. But where people are saying Clement is wrong is when Clement now says the ANC took this decision based on what EFF and DA have done in Parliament, in the courts. The minister saw this is not going to work. Let me. So people are saying you are giving that applause because your camp, because they accused Clement of being a DA. Your DA people have went to court, and you are saying so because DAs went to court, you are giving this victory to DA and EFF because they are ones who litigated, who went to court, not litigated. So it's just one of those things. But I still insist, I don't think there's anyone who has won here besides the people of South Africa. And of course it will be a temporary relief for us, because you would see the DA, that's Gogo Helen. Gogo Helen, I did a shot. So Gogo Helen says, we said to the ANC, stop this, and this if you want to make money. Don't cut our civil workers. This is what Helen says. So the DA presented to ANC to say stop this, to make up the money that you are wanting in that. You stop corruption, you stop this, you stop this. This is what DA says. But of course, people are of course exposing that not only DA but other political parties, they wanted their things, because in the letter, and they said the finance minister has come out to say that. But I don't know where it is. But I think it's fair enough. So I give you that full interview with Clement and Clement Manyathela and Herman Mashaba. So I'm going to give you that interview so you listen to it, and so we come back.
Of ActionSA, Mr. Mashaba, thanks for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and thank you for the opportunity to happen to be driving from Midrand, listening to you with your analysis, and I'm happy to assist you.
Please assist me, Mr. Mashaba, because I think that you have been tricked by the ANC. I don't think you saw it coming. You thought that the ANC is going to come back with a reworked budget before the 1st of May. And I've played the listeners some clips here where Paul Mashatile says this temporary VAT is necessary, but as soon as the economy improves, it will be changed. I played a clip of the IFP, of Rise Mzansi, of the president. So it looks like you are the only people here that somehow believe that there's going to be a removal of VAT before the 1st of May.
Well, it's unfortunate, Clement, if political parties mandated by the public to represent them in Parliament, they vote for reports that they do not understand. Please have a look at the report tabled by ActionSA as a proposal in the Finance Committee on the 1st, and to really look at the very same report presented and voted in Parliament on the 2nd. So it's unfortunate if people voted for what they did not understand. It is not ActionSA's the problem. It's their problem. If people are just voting cattle, then let it really be. Then South Africans must really decide. ActionSA stand by the proposal which was voted in the committee, was voted in Parliament. And one thing that we made it really abundantly clear to the ANC that in the event they're looking at other options, it is their choice. It's not our choice. We gave them a solution on how we can address this matter and ensure that there's no VAT on the 1st of May. If they fail to meet those deadlines, Clement is not going to be our problem, because you must understand on Wednesday in Parliament is not the budget that was voted, it was the framework, the fiscal framework
So this budget is going to go into divisional financial committees, which must be voted in by Parliament. If the ANC thought they tricked us, then I can assure you, and we've said this to many times in South Africa, including my interview with you. In the event ANC renege on this arrangement, then they must go and find someone now to vote the actual budget. They must go and look for other parties to vote with them to get the budget, because without ActionSA's the votes, they will not get the support of the actual budget. This is the fiscal framework which was approved. And ActionSA on Sunday, we worked throughout after they supported our proposal. We've given the Minister of Finance is only looking for 28 billion rands. We've given them on Sunday afternoon proposal to the tune of 110 billion rands of what they can use to replace those 28 billion. If they're not interested in implementing those cost-cutting, saving measures and so forth, it is up to them. They can forget. Let's see now how they're going to now. When we get to the budget, who's going to...
Okay, Mr. Mashaba, let's look at what was voted on, right? You speak about a proposal. When I spoke to you last week on the SABC, I said to you, these things don't get amended, obviously, by just mere recommendations or proposal. The document that was voted in has a 0.5 percentage clause. The agreement with the ANC was not something...
It's not with the ANC. It's voted in by Parliament.
Yeah, but you spoke to the ANC first. You know what I mean? You spoke to the ANC first. You reached an agreement. You went to Parliament. Yes, but I'm saying the agreement between you and the ANC was that we will get the finance minister to do this. And then once the ANC said, cool, you came back and said, okay, cool, let's work on a proposal. It went to Parliament. It was passed by Parliament. Are you aware as ActionSA that the National Treasury went ahead and introduced the rates and monetary amounts and amendment of revenue laws bill on that Friday? I think it was, I don't remember the date. On the Friday, it was a notice of government. So that draft bill that was published provides for this highly disputed value-added tax increase. Are you aware of that as ActionSA?
Well, what I'm saying is to you, Clement, and your listeners, at the end of the day, budget is passed by politicians in Parliament. National Treasury takes instructions from Parliament that votes for that budget. Until such time that a new bill is introduced, and ANC has got the responsibility to ensure that before the 1st of May they bring in a new bill. And I know, and you said, I'm aware, but Parliament is on recess, but they're back on the 21st before.
That's 10 days before the 1st of May, Mr. Mashaba. Whenever have you seen Parliament? You do know that you are not just going to reverse the 0.5. One second. One second. I want to say that. Let me ask this question this way. You do know that you need a new bill for you to be able to reverse that 0.5 percentage hike. You do know that, because it's not just a finance minister who comes and says, oh, we're taking away that VAT. You need a new bill. When have you ever seen Parliament pass a new bill within 10 days?
Well, I'm saying it to you, Clement, it is not ActionSA's problem. It is the ANC's problem, because if they did not accept our proposal on Tuesday and Wednesday, South Africa will be today without budget. Are you aware about that? Let me actually start there. Are you aware that if our proposal in the committee was not accepted, if our proposal was not accepted in Parliament on Wednesday, are you aware South Africa will be without VAT? And without VAT, automatically VAT was going to be in place. Are you aware about that situation? Because obviously all the other parties, well, particularly the DA, what they were proposing was for the Minister of Finances to go and start the process all over again, which will go beyond the 1st of May. But after, based on the VAT Act of 1991, VAT was going to be implemented 1st of May. That is what we were trying to really avoid.
Mr. Mashaba.
And it's up to the ANC to really deal with this matter.
Okay. Mr. Mashaba, are you convinced that Parliament is on recess, They are back on the 22nd. In fact, it's the 22nd until the 25th of April. And then they go on another break immediately because of the long weekend. Are you telling the listeners this morning that between the 22nd and the 25th of April, somehow there's going to be a new bill that's introduced, and that new bill that reverses the 0.5% VAT hike is somehow going to be passed by Parliament in those couple of days?
But okay, Clement, then follow what ActionSA has always said, and I'm saying to you right now, we've been really very clear that in the event that ANC renege on this, now it's up to them to really deal with the actual division of the financial budget come the next few months, weeks and months, so they can forget about ActionSA.
But you allowed them. You allowed them to pass this thing. You didn't vote for a proposal. You voted for a bill that contains the percentage VAT hike. You allowed them to increase the 0.5 percentage hike.
But please just use your common sense. I'm saying to you, if ever we did not come out with this intervention, VAT was going to be implemented. If ever the Minister of Finance, if Parliament on Wednesday that said to the Minister of Finance, go back to the drawing board to go and rework your budget, start from scratch, VAT was going to be effective from the 1st of May. Are you aware about that?
I am, but I'm saying you created an impression that somehow you've won. You went and tweeted, "We saved you, South Africa, from a 0.5 percentage hike." What I'm trying to show you is that it's actually impractical for VAT to be removed before the 1st of May. And I wonder what you're going to say to your voters come the 1st of May, your supporters, if that's not removed.
To my voters, I'm saying to you and the people of South Africa what we've always said, that in the event ANC renege on the agreement we had with them, and which they supported in the Finance Committee, they supported in Parliament. If ever they renege on that South Africa can tell you in the coming months is not going to really have the budget. The Minister of Finance has got to start all over again, and that will be applicable. Then they would have not really betrayed us. They would have betrayed you and the people of South Africa.
Time is running out, Mr. Mashaba. The 1st of May is coming. Many of us have received emails from our banks where we are told that VAT gets implemented from the 1st of May. Government tweeted itself that VAT comes in on the 1st of May. The ANC tweeted a statement, which you guys have seen. You responded to it, to my Twitter, my tweet about a week ago. So time is running out. The question now is, as ActionSA, as we speak right now, are you confident? Do you have any commitment from the ANC? Have they met you and said to you, Mr. Mashaba, don't worry, forget about the noise. We are going to make sure there's a removal of this VAT hike?
Well, it is for that reason they accepted and voted for our proposal.
What have they said to you now?
It's not a fiction. It's not a fiction. It's something that happened in Parliament in front of the whole nation. They supported our proposal. They voted for it. They did not just support it. They voted for it in the committee. They voted for it in Parliament. So if they renege on this, it is not going to be a betrayal of ActionSA. They will be betraying the people of South Africa. And what is going to be interesting, without ActionSA's support, I wonder how they're going to now pass the real budget, because here we passed the fiscal the framework. Now it's going to really be interesting. Now let them take the consequences of their inaction or indecisiveness.
Okay.
Because here we needed a political party that can make a concrete decision. When you deal with matters like this, you make sure that there's commitment. And we advised the ANC when we came out with this proposal. We said, guys, please be proactive in communicating the process of what's going to transpire. But they decided to play games, saying different things. And we just really kept quiet, because we know we have the power to decide whether their budget is going to pass or not. And I can assure you, if they're going to continue with their VAT, then let them go and get their support from MP.
They probably will, Mr. Mashaba, because all they needed right now is to go through this hurdle. So they used you as ActionSA to go through the first hurdle. They're probably gonna fix things with the DA, and then they're gonna continue with their GNU. Are you aware? Last question.
But then it's exactly then precisely Clement. That will mean VAT will apply regardless. VAT will be effective. If ANC does not implement what they voted for on Wednesday, VAT will apply on.
But they would have used you to try and go through that first hurdle first. They promised you. They gave you drinks.
Tell me, okay. Tell me, what did they achieve?
They've achieved that first hurdle of passing it from. They made you think that you're going to vote for a proposal, but you actually voted.
It's a fiscal policy framework. It's not the budget that was passed.
No, the document you voted on has a 0.5% clause in Parliament.
Yes.
Yes, so the vote, you didn't just vote for a proposal that says we're going to rework. What you voted for in Parliament, that has a 0.5% VAT.
Clement, then use another logic. If ever we did not agree on this plan that we presented to the ANC, that Parliament had to say to the Minister of Finance, go back and rework your budget. The VAT was going to be applicable on the 1st of May. That's something that you need to really take into consideration.
That's true, and I've taken that into consideration. My point is your involvement and your agreement doesn't change that. It's still going to be applicable on the 1st of May.
Well, but if ANC is committed to this process, they can make things happen. If they don't make things happen, and we've been really very clear about this. We said to South Africans, and we are still saying to South Africans, it is possible. We've presented, and in the event they don't implement our suggestions, we will make them public so that you can see how we wanted to save South Africa from overburden of VAT and this income tax bracket. Then it's up to ANC to accept the consequences.
All right, Herman.
So I did try to speak to Lerato Ngobeni, who is a member of Parliament. She was sitting with me here, and she spoke about this. And she said, and I repeat, if those SMSs, people receive those SMSs, because she was at pains trying to explain this thing, if those people receive those SMSs, when the hike turns back, it will also come back. I want to tell you, as I sit now with you, I do not know if the 0.5% is going to happen or not, because it is not what the minister wants. When I say what the minister wants, I'm saying it's not a case of the minister waking up and saying, we are changing, or the minister says, we are not changing. This court battle, this legislative framework, the whole thing, just shows us that whether we've been sleeping for 30 years or not, our democracy is a constitutional democracy that is tested in Parliament. And the parliamentary processes can be checked by looking at how constitutional this thing is. We take to court, and if all fails, we'll go to the Constitution just to verify if this thing protects me or protects you. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult. We don't know as we sit. And if indeed this thing is reversed, should ActionSA take the applause? People, you would see the comments of the interview I did with Lerato Ngobeni, who's ActionSA member of Parliament, chief whip, spokesperson of the party. You would see how people were aggressive in the comments. Yeah, but you voted with these people, you did this, the ANC and their people were labeled as sellouts for having voted for this. Everyone's going to play this thing, and we may not even understand it now. We might understand it a few years later when someone decides to write a book about it, where they were going to explain. But let me do this in closing. Let me give you the interview I had with Lerato Ngobeni, member of Parliament from ActionSA, who, from her side, she explained what was happening. I tried to speak to her on the phone, and she was not available. But let me try to speak to her on the phone. Let me hear how far she's going to take this. Let's see if she doesn't. Well, of course you'll play that video. Mashiane Politicallyincorrect. Ladies and gentlemen, we were lucky. We found her. We managed to drag her out of a busy schedule, and maybe let's go ahead with it. Let's unpack what is the postmortem. What does it mean going forward? A lot of confusion is in the picture. Lerato, Ngobeni, the guy.
Thank you so much once again for the opportunity to have a chat with you.
Thank you. So I was just telling the audience that it's so confusing. The minister backtracks, or is it even a backtrack? The minister says things are going to be reversed, where they even implemented. So the last time you and I spoke, you insisted that you gave the best proposal that anyone could have ever fielded, and if that reversal comes, the same SMSs people were receiving, they will receive another one that says we are no longer going to implement that increase. Please unpack it for us. Maybe start from last night. What had happened?
No, definitely. Look, I think to call it backtracking, I think it's unfortunate because this is what the people of South Africa have been asking for. You would be, remembering that ever since there was any talk of any type of VAT hike at any value, there was already talk. I mean, the people were dismayed with that. That is why some parties went to court to say they are stopping VAT. So you can't really call it backtracking. Let's say it was next week, and the court order says scrap VAT. What would that be called? Would that be called backtracking? So in our view, a lot still has to happen. Not just in our view, but it's a fact. A lot has to happen. There's a lot of processing that has to happen. But I think the most important thing is that powers are there constitutionally so for a reason. Executive powers are there for a reason. And so the minister, all what we did was apply enough pressure for the minister to use his powers, to the favor of the South African people. And so us as ActionSA are very pleased about that. It's definitely, Madiba said, once you climb one hill and you are at the top of that hill, you realize, in fact, you are now at the bottom of another one.
What does it mean for us as observers from afar? Let's hope we're
Parliament implements.
Okay, what does it mean for us? So, for example, is he tabling another budget to give people an opportunity to vote on it? What is going to happen? And if the 1st of May comes, what are the implications? Permutations, perhaps?
Yeah, so basically that was a budget framework to say this is how Parliament or how government is going to spend its money. That framework, we said we would support it so that the wheels of the government and the budgeting process must keep on churning. However, go and rework it in such a way that the people of South Africa can be saved from this VAT. So the next process is now the same process that was going to follow in terms of getting to the budget vote itself on the entire budget for government. Those processes are now going to follow, however, with a revised budget. So there is the Money Matters bill that now the minister has to resubmit to Parliament. It will go back to the framework without the VAT increase, will go back to the Standing Committee on Finance, and then it will come back to Parliament, and then Parliament will vote on it. And then, of course, the budget itself, the division of revenue will follow, and then that will be the final budget that will be voted on without a VAT increase, and of course with reorganized priorities. And so that's what, in layman's terms, that's what will follow.
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question that is unfortunate. Who is the victor here?
Well, the victor should be the South African people. It's the people who are going to bear the brunt of a VAT increase. It's the people of South Africa who are struggling even now. You know that everything is sky high, transport, food. There's ripple effect on all these things, including the SMSs that people are getting, bank charges, insurance charges, everything going up by 5.5% was going to be affected. So the victor really is not political parties. Political parties are there to represent the will of the people. That's why they're elected to be in office on behalf of the South African people. So in our view, the victors will always and must always be the South African people.
Before you and I had the interview we had, there was an interview of Clement, Manyathela and Herman Mashaba. And Clement painted a picture that, this was a lost cause. ActionSA in particular is not going to be able to turn this thing around. It's already went, and you've been hoodwinked. And you remember I used the word hoodwinked in the interview that I had with you. Do you think and you guys are having the last laugh in terms of people were disregarding the effort that you have made, especially with that particular proposal? And what's your sentiment now regarding Clement Manyathela?
Look, this has been a very confusing time for everyone in South Africa. But, these matters are very technical also in nature, are not very easy to unpack, I'm not a financial person by any means. So if you ask me, very deep technical financial formulas, etc., I really could not give you that answer. And so we rely on the experts who know what they're talking about. The function of journalists and commentators and analysts is to try and give South Africans a sense as to what it is, or the public a sense as to what it is that is happening. And so, you take risks, in these matters. We took a very big risk, and we were defamed and we were sworn at, but we took it because we knew that nothing that is done on truth, based on truth and justice, can ever fail. And that's really how we march forward as ActionSA. As long as what we do is based on truth, and that with integrity, and that we trust the decisions that we're making, we're not always going to make the right decisions. It's just like, in normal life. Some things you win some, you lose some. And sometimes, you see something that others don't see. And so you get ridiculed for it. Jesus was ridiculed, even put to death. And today, we are still celebrating salvation to this day. And so I'm not by any means, equating ourselves as a party to Jesus, but I'm just trying to paint a practical picture of what it looks like. And so for us, it's not the first time we've taken hits like that. To our motives, but as long as we do the very best that we can on behalf of the people of South Africa, and as long as it works out in the end, and we, people feel that there should be credit apportioned to the hard work that gets done behind the scenes, I welcome that, and it's encouraging, because we're also human beings. We need that encouragement so we can keep going every day and wake up to fight another day. But this is what we signed up for. We signed up to serve the people of South Africa, and it's only humbling to be able to achieve that on their behalf.
Lerato, Ngobeni, thank you very much. Let's hope and cross our fingers that SMS we spoke about, that reverses that 0.5% of it is indeed coming to our cell phones?
Well, I mean, it has been announced. Remember that it was gazetted, and the minister has to do what he has to do. The treasury has to do what it has to do for the people of South Africa not to suffer and not to get to pay that VAT. That is a statement that he has made. Of course, that we will hold him accountable to that. As I said, even when we were speaking, ActionSA has succeeded. So it's not within our powers to push for these things to happen. We only agitate and put pressure. And so the minister has not told us that he's going to reverse. The VAT is reversed. In fact, it's reversed. He didn't tell us. He told the South African people. And so on behalf of the South African people, we will hold him accountable. That's really our job. So I'm also affected by this 0.5. All of us are. So I'm also waiting for my SMS, Dr. Mashiane.
Thank you very much. Godspeed. Thank you. Bye. There you are. We tried. I mean, I had to drag her out of a busy day. It's been a very busy day. I mean, those people in Parliament have had a challenging 24 hours since yesterday. So tell me what you feel about it. Is it a new framework that's going to be done to fix the VAT? Political parties, you hear what she says. To them, it's given, it's withdrawn. And the letter that we showed you does confirm that the minister has withdrawn. The communication says the reversal of. But is that a confirmation? Is there going to be a process, or is it a commitment to reverse? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very confusing. That's why I said I don't blame Clement Manyathela. And you hear she doesn't blame Clement Manyathela herself. But be there as it may, Mashiane Politicallyincorrect has been a long one. Let me drop you the interview that I did with her. This is before all of these things could happen. And at the time she was given, ActionSA was persona non grata. They were seen as the biggest because the politics at the time were the big three. Of course, ANC is the instigator in this process. The big three, DA, EFF, and MK, were very unhappy with this block of people who gave ANC the vote for this budget, and they were very unhappy. At the time we had this interview, she was representing ActionSA that was at the ropes, and this is what she said. Mashiane Politicallyincorrect. Enjoy. Mashaba, again, when I had the chance to speak to him, I asked him, are you regretful of having trusted the DA into moonshotting you away from ANC, and they went behind your back and made plans with them and GNU'd you out of power? He said, no, it's not. It's not a mistake, because he calls it's not a mistake because it was a decision. But when I spoke to Ngobeni, of course, he admits the mistake, having trusted DA. And with the recent parliamentary gymnastics, now we know that he has learned his lessons not to trust DA a lot. But then people are saying he saved the country, he saved the VAT, now we've got a budget. But others are saying ActionSA was hoodwinked into Ditsotsija ANC because they are untrustworthy. That VAT is 0.5 tricked ActionSA into supporting something that is not there, and hence people are going to court. So it's very complex for us who are not members of parliament. In layman's terms, consistent with what you've been saying, just try to paint a picture and don't complicate it. What happened, and do you think if something is dishonorable, it has to be the ANC and not yourselves?
So let's start with the moonshot multi-party charter, so-called.
It was not a mistake. It was, and first we didn't trust the DA. We never trusted the DA. We never trusted, you don't trust political parties that you work with. You don't trust competitors because they're always going to try and outwit you, outsmart you, outplay you. So you don't trust them. What you do is you operate with a good faith principle. So we went into that thing with a good faith principle. Why did we do it? At that time, South Africans were, and they still are, exhausted. 52 political parties, ballots, long story. So we wanted to demonstrate that working together is possible. So actually, that multi-party charter was the first iteration of the so-called GNU, as we know it now. It was a gamble. We took the gamble because we wanted to demonstrate that we could take our own interests out of it. You know that Mashaba and a lot of other people have got serious traumatic experiences and dislike for the DA as it is. And I don't like to talk about the DA a lot, but you've asked the question, so I'm going to answer it. But to say I can take my own self-interest if it's going to benefit the country, right? So that was the first iteration of this today's GNU. We did it with the multi-party. Didn't work out. Yes, it did hurt us. But they were not the only people who hurt us. The emergence of MKP came in, hurt everyone. Because South Africans are looking for something. And what is beautiful about what is happening in our country, in my view, is that we are growing. You know, all this push and pull that we're doing. And it makes me very encouraged to say, I think South Africa, we don't yet have a danger of being under despotic type rule. Our people will always shift. Our civil society is strong. And so that's the first part of your question. Being hoodwinked, we held a press conference straight after that parliamentary vote. And we made it abundantly clear to South Africans. We voted for a budget framework with the proviso that South Africans can be saved from a VAT increase. People say, no, that's unlawful. When you said, well, people are taking the whole process to court. Mm-hmm. It's very funny because the very same people participated in that process.
They play, they lose, then they complain.
They lose, then they go to court. It's crazy. I mean, you don't even have to have been in parliament to understand process. Let's just be layman. You said layman's terms. Mm-hmm. Let's be fair. You go to a portfolio committee. What those detractors or those people who are saying what they're saying now, the easiest thing for them to do to delegitimate the process was just to collapse that meeting. Don't show up, break the quorum. Let the meeting not correlate. If a meeting doesn't correlate, meaning you don't have 50+1 people who are members of that committee, who are voting members of that committee, not attending, the meeting doesn't sit. So it doesn't sit. So they came, they participated in a democratic process where you say yes or you say no. They said no. Then they proceed to Parliament, the National Assembly. They come in, the Speaker asks, do we correct? Yes, we correct. Okay, not all members of Parliament are attending, but we are correcting. They say, who's voting? Worst part, it's them who asked. We want it to be voted individual. We don't even want hands. We don't want us to be counted as a bulk. Normally how we vote in Parliament, they will say ActionSA, and then I'm the chief whip, I'll say ActionSA 6. So because it's my members, they are 6. And then everybody else will do the same. This time they said, no, they don't even want that. They want it to be Amase, Lerato, Mikateko, Ngobeni, yes. So we did that. All of us.
They agreed on the rules.
The rules were there, and it was all in full view of South Africans to see it. Parliament Munati, because it's televised.
In camera.
right? So they vote, they lose, they walk out. They should have walked out before, so that sitting doesn't sit, because we would not have curated. So they participate in a democratic process. Now they've lost, they've got sour grapes. Had they won, would they have taken anyone to court? If things had gone their own way. Why? Because what they were voting for, or what they were bargaining for, was not about fighting for VAT for the people of South Africa. They were fighting for other interests. They are fighting for other things that had nothing to do with saving the people of South Africa from a 0.5 VAT increase. Now you ask us, ActionSA, I'm going to say this. We, at the press conference, made it abundantly clear. If the African National Congress believes that this is one of their moves, and that they have hoodwinked ActionSA or other members who, because not just ActionSA that has done what we have done, and we have given proposals to the minister, who has assured us that he's looking at those proposals and that he will try. They were going to do what they can to save the people of South Africa from having a VAT increase. Somebody wrote to me a text and said, "My bank has sent me this notification. You are telling me that there will be no VAT. Who must I believe?" Now, ActionSA didn't say there will be no VAT. We don't have powers to do that. We've got 6 members of parliament. The minister has the powers to do that. What we said was, we need to vote for a budget framework that puts our priorities, how we're going to do things, in check. But we're saying that framework, we're only supporting you on condition, which is allowed, by the way, to come back. So Parliament will go back and sit. The minister will come back and say, I've considered your options. Sorry, we're still increasing VAT. That's not within our powers. And if that's what the minister will do, and we've been hoodwinked, well, he didn't hoodwink us. He will have hoodwinked the people of South Africa, because he has made a commitment to say, I am going to consider these proposals seriously, so that the people of South Africa don't have to pay for the mismanagement. It is them who have mismanaged state resources. It is them who have chowed the money. So I jokingly say, there are many ways to recover this money. Let the politicians with their 3-story houses, let them be taken, let them be sold. Let their 5 garage cars, let them be sold. Let their side chick apartments be sold. And bring the money back into the state coffers. It's time for them to pay the people of South Africa back. They've been chilling on the gravy train for a long time. So we've made proposals, tangible proposals to them to say, enable SARS to go after the people who must be paying into the fiscus, which they are not. We know that people are evading tax. The easiest example I can make, Mam Kize. How many Mam Kizes are there who are evading tax? How many big conglomerates are cooking their books to not pay the level of tax that they need to pay? Musi Maimane made an interesting suggestion to talk about the gambling industry, the R1 trillion industry. They only give back into the fiscus about 5 billion rand. That is nothing. They must be gone after to pay the proper tax. So all of those suggestions have been made. And so when the minister comes back, it will not be us who will have done anything. Rona, we have put our hand and our heads on the guillotine to say we will fight to advocate for the people of South Africa not to have VAT. When the minister comes back and he gives us VAT, then it's the ANC that has to explain to the people how they came to that. Rona, we will, what we've given is still under consideration. The beautiful thing about modern life is that everything is in black and white. So we have written, and we will simply show the people of South Africa, this is what we said could be done. This is what we said, where we said the money could come from. These are the suggestions that we have made, and the minister has declined them. So how is that an ActionSA problem with 6 members in parliament when you've got the ANC with 159, DA with 87 or whatever, MK with 58, all of these, and you come and you want to blast us with 6 members? What we are doing with those 6 members is to say we are working very hard to be true to what we have promised as a party to the people of South Africa. And it's our right to do that. We went and we put these suggestions on the table. So we have to wait for the time to come. So lastly, what I said to the person who sent me the SMS, who they must believe, I said, if this VAT issue succeeds, and the minister says, guys, we have found other ways to save you from this VAT in this financial year, and we succeed, your bank will simply send you an updated SMS. All these people, your premium, your insurance company, your bank, everyone who has sent you an email, your medical aid, all of them, the very same SMS that they've sent you, they will send you an updated one that says 0 VAT from the 1st of May. Our plight is to say, we want, by the time Parliament goes back on the 22nd, we go back on the 22nd of April. The Speaker has got the powers to call a parliamentary, a National Assembly sitting. She'll call it, and when she calls it, we will go. And we will listen to what the Minister of Finance has to say, and the Minister will present what his reworking of the framework or of the budget proposal is. And from an ActionSA point of view, if the Minister comes back with VAT included in there, we will not vote for that budget. It's as simple as that.
Okay. In closing,